Hey guys, it's Steve with Orlando Collective Deviants. We are here today live in Kissimmee at Osceola Heritage Park at the Infinity Toy and Comic Convention. This time around, and I think this is going to be our last one of the day because of the time, and this show only goes to 5 o'clock. So we are here with Bryan, who's the author of Between Magic and Dreams. You want to show him the book?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Out there.
Yeah,
There you
technology.
go.
Look at that. It's perfect angle, everything.
See,
All right,
there
great.
you go.
I'm on it.
Now, Bryan,
Yes.
this is our first time meeting.
Yep.
I believe I've seen you at conventions before.
Probably.
Um,
I get around.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's a good thing and a bad thing.
Stephanie was telling me about it.
Don't let it get to the missus. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about your book and what brings you to this wonderful location today.
All right. Well, first off, the location, because that's the easier one. It's like the closest con I've ever had to where I'm at. It's like 45 minutes away from the house. So, yeah, this was a
Where the hell do
no-brainer.
you live? If this is close.
Groveland. Yeah.
Okay. See that? Hey, Chelsea, hand me that one down there.
Yeah.
That one is the closest to your house.
Actually, I have not done this one yet because it's in November. Boom.
But I'm just telling you, that's the closest one to your house.
I know, but this is the closest one that I've done so far, so I have to give it that.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that being the case, and I hadn't done it before, so I figured to give it a shot, get to, get around more, understand more about how the stuff works. I've done quite a few, but regardless of how many I've done, any new one that I've done is somehow different than the last, than the others. So
If it's a good con, it's different than the con before.
well, I'm finding that out.
I own 2 conventions, so I know, and each one of those are completely different from each other.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, so far though, this has been a great one. I mean, the first few hours, covered the important stuff. So after that was all icing on the cake. There's a lot of icing, so that's great.
Well, Louis runs a great show. He's been doing it for years.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
so he knows how to run it.
He
He's
knows
been
his
around.
stuff.
He's old. I can say that he's family. So.
Elderberries. But yeah. So, Between Magic and Dreams is an urban fantasy story, and it stars Quinn Pfeiffer, who's a college student that's fighting to preserve our reality during the rebirth of forgotten times through a phenomenon known as the New Light. And basically, the New Light itself is, I would say, a side effect of an experiment, of an actual science experiment that goes by the name of HAARP, HAARP. So, based on the premise that this project
So
is
is
happening.
there a period behind like each letter?
Yeah, because that's
Okay.
normally how those acronyms go. I think.
I was just making sure.
Okay, because otherwise that'd be different. It'd kind of be foreshadowing.
Well, I'm just saying,
Okay.
So sometimes every book is different.
True.
So it could just be harp, and it just means it's short for harpsichord or something.
Yeah. That would be funny though. Yeah, that's something to work in. But anyway, so yeah, so the idea is that light starts getting through the atmosphere as a result of this experiment that should not be getting through. But what if it's something more than the science experiment side effect, but it's also a beacon? So that beacon starts becoming or bringing the remnants of forgotten times back into our world. Yeah, our protagonist gets seated with the task of saving our reality, and all he's really concerned about is getting out of college.
Okay. Now, so one of my questions when I talk with authors,
Yeah.
is this book one or is this a one and done?
One and done means you were a writer, not you are a writer.
Well, no. Okay, and I'll say because I watched a lot of one-off books,
Mhm.
and even some of the one-off books could eventually down the line come back together to meet in the same universe.
True.
But I read a lot. I have a library at my house. We actually named one of our rooms when we bought the house is our library.
That's great.
So,
Thank you. On behalf of us, writers.
well, I don't need a formal living room.
Mhm.
I need a library.
Understood.
So there you go. So I do have a lot of, this could be a one and done. This could be a great, okay, I have plans, but I want to get my ideas out to the world,
Mhm.
and see how it goes.
Well,
So-
I'm definitely someone who works along the lines of I want to complete my thought
Okay.
So
So how many books is there's going to be in this arc?
and this one is going to be a trilogy.
Okay.
Books 1 and 2 are actually both done. Book 3 is in the works. The plan is to be done writing by October. But between the second and third novel, I have a 3-issue comic, and the reason I even have that is to expound on static characters within the story. So when you meet some character in the story, you love them, they did something great for the protagonist or whatever, or maybe even against the protagonist, but you like them better than the protagonist. So I'm like, a lot of these characters have full-on stories, and I want to find different ways of telling those stories. So comics happens to be one vehicle. Another of which is hidden chapters, which I have on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are illustrated. Well, the first set is illustrated by myself and read by Jason Lucky. He's an amazing talent that I found on Instagram. Guys like got range like you wouldn't believe.
So is this going to end up on Audible at
Oh,
some point?
well, again, I like to cover my bases. So not only do I have hardcovers and paperbacks, I have a digital version and an audiobook for both novels so far.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're folding laundry and you want to hear something great, it's there. If you're taking a long drive, you need to hear something great, it's there.
Well, see, and that's why I asked because, like, my day job, I have Audible, and I always got a book going in my ear while I'm doing whatever I'm doing during my day job.
Okay.
And then when I'm driving to my next location, it's still going. I tell you, books mean a lot in our house. So,
Well, the driving force for me actually even doing this is because my mom also has a library in the house, and she's always been an avid reader. So, one summer I actually wrote a book. Sad story. It was on a Commodore 64. Oh, not dating myself here, but it was on a Commodore 64 and printed out on a dot matrix printer.
you do not look that old. I'm going to tell you that right
No one's ever told me that ever in life. But what's funny about it though is before the disc got truncated, I did have that one print. No one knows where that book is. So that was my first shot, and I missed. But later, 2019, lightning in the bottle, this opportunity came up, and it was like, okay, either I do this or I'm gonna forever be saying what I could have done. So I started in secret. By the time the book was almost done, is when I told the missus. And then I started telling other people after it was done. And true to form, the naysayers come out. Oh man, it's really hard. People always say they're gonna do this. I'm like, well, no, here it is. You don't have to finish. Just read it. Let me know what you think.
Now, where did you get the idea for the book?
Oh man, so years before I even wrote the first words for this, the title popped into my head. And I wanted to make something epic to fit the title. And the characters kind of started popping in slowly over like the months of after coming up with the title. And the story just kind of started building itself. Once I had the title written out, I had a young lady by the name of Jensen Osmond draw the title out as in her best font, like the best way she can write it. And she was incredibly skilled. And when she showed me this thing, I realized that I had to make sure everything matched the quality of this actual illustration. In fact, there it is.
Okay.
So,
You want to show everybody?
oh yeah. This is the actual illustration in black and white. I actually have it in color. It's a large piece, but I started making sure that any and everything that touched this had to at least match that quality. So, as the story unfolded, when I was writing it, everything else after that just kind of fell into place.
So I don't feel so bad. 'Cause I'm going to tell you, I've had a story bouncing around in my head for years. And it's slowly, same thing. I had the title before I ever had, I kind of had a basic, but I had the title in my head, and I just kind of been slow. I haven't put it ever to pencil or wrote it down, but I've been building it in my head for years. My wife knows. I talked to her about it. I'm like, what else would you call this instead of this? You know, she's like, for your book, because it's one of those. Do I want to make it into a comic book or do I want to make it into a book? You know, because my story could go either way. So it's just one of those. So to hear you started with the same way that it bounces in my head and kind of go, it makes me feel good because I thought I was just crazy.
Nah, dude. So what we like to do, or I say what I like to do, hopefully you do the same, and that is while we're having that bounce around in our heads, it's getting more and more developed. So where people normally kind of kick out an idea, we kick out a whole story because it's been there, you know.
And that's the thing. And I even told my wife, we were driving one time. Son of a bitch. She's like, what? I said, I just got an idea to take the story a different direction. You know, and it could be a sequel or something, but it's like off of this. And I like, now I can make it a series instead of just a one-off, you know. Yep. And she's like, okay, don't do that when we're driving.
Look, I've been having to utilize like the notes function on the phone because when I had these ideas, like, hey, there we go, let me put that in. But normally I would just find some receipt, some piece of paper or a napkin, so now I have a box that I'm digging through, like, yeah, that's it. This is gold. This is gold, you know. So yeah, it's these ideas come to you at any given point, but these are ideas that are meshing with something that's already been bouncing around in your head for so long that it all again just starts building itself.
Now you said you self-publish this.
Yep.
And you self-everything this.
Yeah, it was quite a journey. But I will say this: I am an artist as well, but my style didn't fit the story that was in my head. So I drew out all the characters, you know, some scenes, whatever, and sought out the artist that had that style. And the guy that I found was somebody that I've been admiring. His work I've been admiring for like 5 years before I even wrote the first word. So when I reached out to him and he actually decided to do it blew my freaking mind. You know, and I just sent him a couple of chapters. He hit me back within a couple of days telling me how much he loved it. I was all right, well good. Do this. And he landed, he's the guy that did my cover art. His name is El Sevilla. You can find him on YouTube, not YouTube, Instagram. Yeah. And cool thing about it is, to this day, he's one of the aces, and I call them aces because when they say they're going to do something, they do it. You know, it's rare I'm coming to find, and I found myself extremely fortunate to have the handful that I do have. So yeah, that's been working out great, though.
Now, do you dedicate time like every day for it, or do you just, you know, because the real world can too much into it?
Oddly enough, it was when circumstances in the real world got so jacked up that I was like, you know what, I'm taking a break. And once I stepped away, that's oddly enough when lightning struck. There's this company called Black Sands that was doing like a free thing of, hey, we're going to show you exactly how to self-publish your own book from beginning to end. And within 3 months, you should have a complete piece. I was like, wow, really? All right, so it's totally free. It's all live. I'm like, if I don't do this, it's my own damn fault. So I jumped in with both feet, and here I am now. And that was in 2019.
I was just saying, when did you start writing the book? 2019?
2019.
So you did everything in 1 year, the book and the publish and everything. So how long did it take you to actually write the book?
It took me about 2.5 months. But this was me every day. Kids go to school, I'm working. Kids go to bed, I'm working. You know, I got about 4 hours of sleep for that couple of months. And I don't regret it at all because the whole time, to me, it was like playing a freaking video game. I mean, I was just loving it. The only thing that I hated about it was the fact that my body couldn't keep up with my mind.
Now, how long did the story bounce around your head before you put it through?
See, that's the real question.
It only took you a few months to write it, but how long was it forming?
All right, so that was 2019. I had it in my head before me and the missus even met. That was 2006. So that would be, no, we got married 2006. So anyway, we're looking at 10 years, man. 10 years with that title and me sitting saying, "Oh, life's getting in the way. Oh, I can't do it because of this. I can't do it because of that." That's why I think it was so easy for me to recognize when the moment came.
So I don't feel bad because I haven't hit that 10-year mark yet. So it's still,
Oh,
I
okay.
can still have it bounce around a little bit longer.
Let it marinate.
Well, I got, like I said, I told you when I thought, oh man, this would be a perfect spin-off of the story.
Mhm.
And it's like, I'm not even done with my first story yet, and I'm already thinking about the second story.
Hey, get the receipts out. Just start to a box.
I'm one of those with all the post-it notes on the computer. You know, and, yeah, if you ever see my notes on my phone, yeah, it's, any ideas I get, not just for the book, but even for like the conventions and this and that. Because I do all the advertising for our conventions. So if I come up, I'm out and about, even if I'm at work, and I come up with a great saying for one of our advertisements, it's on my notes. You know.
That's what's up. Yeah, I actually had to kill all of them off from around my screen because I realized that anytime I try to do digital art, I can't even see the top of the screen anymore. So I'm like, all right, B, you might have a problem.
I'm a great artist too. You can see my stick figures; they are on point.
But I've seen some amazing animation with stick figures. So I don't know, catch yourself out just yet.
Now, did you have any schooling background, anything besides just the love of books?
Oddly enough, I mean, and nothing beyond like in high school when I did I did creative writing in high school, and it was all poetry and stuff like that, which is fine. And I used to love doing poetry, but there was only so much that I could do with it. I went into short stories because I felt like my most powerful poetry came from like the emotional stuff. But I feel like anybody can write poetry off of that. It's like the most powerful thing a human being has at their disposal. Why should you put a pen to paper and make something happen that would make other people feel? I feel like that's easy. So when I started doing short stories, it was more like trying to convey an idea and paint a word with pictures, or paint a picture with words. That's what I meant. So in the end, all of my works are very visual in nature. I want people to be able to read it, close their eyes, and see something.
And that's how I picture when I'm reading the books. The movie is going in my head. I'm seeing everything. You know, even when it comes to the audiobooks, like I said, I've gotten into a lot more of that lately because my time I'm driving, I'm out a lot more. Even that, it's running in my head. You know, the movie of what I'm listening to. You know, because a good author should have that movie in my head. I've had books and you probably have too, where you're trying to read it and it's like, I just cannot connect with this book.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's easy. I mean, I've just been doing it for a while, so I guess it's more second nature for me. But when it comes to making dots connect, you can tell when it's forced. When somebody's reading, you're writing something and somebody's reading, had to pause real quick. But yeah, you can tell when it's forced, and it's like, okay, that did not need to be in there, but there it is, and the author's gonna try to write that in there to make it work. I want everything to flow. I want it to be logical as logical can be in the fantasy world, right?
Hey, in the fantasy world, anything is logical.
There you go. But it can be weird.
It can. I actually read this book, and the author was an actual like scientist.
Oh yeah.
And he wrote this book. This was his kid's bedtime story. But after he did the whole author's notes at the end of it, and he explained that everything, all the metals and this and that in his book is real metals, and this is how you come to it, and he's talking about these formulas. I'm like, that's a little more than I needed to know. But even that, it was true science in this science fiction book. You know, this it wasn't science fiction; it was actual fantasy. So, but you know, a good author can do it without you even know it.
Right. I mean, I think it's kind of cool too that at the end he's like, You know, it was real, right? You know, I mean, I think that's dope.
Oh yeah. It was like another like 25 pages of him explaining everything.
Mhm.
I was like, I just think it was cool that this was a bedtime story for your kids,
Mhm.
and you are this professor in college that deals with all this stuff.
And he can dumb it down to the point where his kids enjoyed the story. Now, I
Yeah.
shouldn't say dumb it down, because that sounds
Well-
rough, doesn't it? Sounds rough.
Well, I'm going to say simplify it down, but
Yeah.
that even sounds just as bad. Make it more understanding for
Nerf
the
it.
younger.
Yeah, nerf it.
Nerf it.
Yeah,
There you
nerf
go.
it. Yeah, there you go.
Kind of like Smash Brothers Day.
Yeah.
Everything gets nerfed.
So yeah, dude. So as far as your book, hey, when you plan on pulling the trigger?
When life's not in my way.
See.
See, and I okay. I have interviews that I do.
Mhm.
I have a real world job.
Mhm.
I have Orlando Collective Evenings that we run.
Mhm.
I have 2 conventions that I run. I ain't got a lot more time.
I understand, man.
And I just bought a new house last year, so I'm trying to get that.
Wow, dude. Right.
That
You do have a fully loaded plate.
because I've been trying to build a fence for my backyard for a year.
Mm.
And the thing is, after we moved in, like a week after we moved in, we got hit by the first hurricane.
Oh no.
And then not even a month later, we got hit by the second hurricane. So it's been one rough year.
Okay. All right, I guess I could give you a little.
You gotta give me a little.
You got some leeway.
But see, like I said, you went 10 years with it popping around in your head.
Mhm.
So I got a few more years.
That's true. Yeah. At least a couple
I'm
more
still I'm still putting it down. And like I said, like I'm very much into comic books as well as reading.
years.
So does this go to a book or does this go to comic book? Do I do it as a graphic novel or is this one big,
Well, you could. I would say this, right? You could always do the novel and then adapt it for a graphic novel.
See, I fear, and this is me,
Mhm.
and I told you, we have pushed reading in our family. We love reading, everything.
Mhm.
I know that more people are coming off of reading and going towards other things,
Mhm.
So I would love to write a book. I've always been interested, but I'm just scared that it's the I'm not going to do that.
Oh,
You know-
what's funny is about 4 cons ago, I think it was in Sarasota. This young lady saunters up to the table, looks at the books and stuff. Like, does anybody even read anymore? And I was like, and to me, it seemed like okay. I don't want to say stupid question, so I won't say that. But I was like, do you not realize that every film that you watch, that you flock to, starts off as somebody writing this stuff down? Or don't you know that every series that you binge watch is books of stuff that somebody wrote? So I'm like, yeah, I think people still write books. But as far as people reading, it's hit or miss because you have to find pockets of people that have that fervor for reading, printed text.
And I tell you, one of the reasons why I did, we moved not when we just bought our new house. We moved a few years ago,
Mhm.
about like 15 years ago, and we had a whole bunch of books. And we were moving from out of state to here, not taking all the books,
Gotcha.
And it was like, oh, here, we'll give you guys our books, here you got. Nobody wanted the books. Nobody we knew wanted books. And it's like, so we ended up getting like Goodwill, whatever, But it's still, I go to Goodwill and buy books all the time.
Yeah, dude, you can find all kinds of gems there specifically for that reason. People are like, oh, well, nobody's buying them, nobody's going to take them. But the thing is, there are people out there extremely passionate about it, and they are, like I said, these big pockets of people. But you just got to find them, and they're not as easy to find. I mean, you can't just Google it. It's sad, and I wish I could because I need that for marketing reasons. But outside of that, man, I mean, what I found works is being consistent and getting yourself out there. And like you were saying earlier, they want to know who you are.
Exactly.
Being who you are will make them fans of your work because they want to back you and then they get fall in love with the story after that.
Everybody thinks I'm a drunk, so yeah, I'm good.
Well, you know, the best stories I've ever heard came from drunk guys.
Now, what brought you to this show in particular?
Oh,
Besides it being within 45 minutes,
okay.
why Infinity Comic and Toy Show?
Well, there is a vendor here by the name of Emily Marvels. Well, her name is Stephanie, but Emily Marvels is the business. And she actually brought it to my attention at one of the previous cons. And a lot of times it's, word of mouth that you even find out about the cons that we can get to that will benefit us and whatnot. So I was like, all right, let's do this.
See
Yep.
See this little card right here?
Yeah, I see that.
This will tell you every convention for a year.
Okay, so that'll help me out a lot. That helps out a lot.
Because we usually know there is a lot that do the little pop-ups that
Mhm.
but we usually know at least for a year out what conventions are out.
Okay.
And we have been in the business for over 12 years, so we can also help kind of guide. Hey, this one is really just toy heavy. You might want to stay away from that one.
And that would be
Where
helpful.
this one has a little bit of everything. You might do great here.
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell you, this one right here.
Yeah.
I've actually met a couple authors from him,
Okay.
and I followed their books. And then when he comes back the next year, I say, okay, I read this book, and I want to know why this happened at this moment. I said, you never explained this.
Mm-hmm.
And I caught one author in a faux pas in his own book.
You're not that guy. Oh.
But I didn't mean for it.
Uh-huh.
I needed to ask clarification.
Oh,
Did you do this on purpose?
Yeah.
Did you,
Because there's little Easter eggs that I would drop, and I'm like, hey, what's this about? I'm like, oh, you'll see.
And he did, like, when he went, he had the book on him. He went, he looked, he's like, I never realized this is one of those that I did the other chapter kind of first before I did a different chapter because he knew how this was going to work out. So he kind of wrote that all down and then built kind of up to it. Well, it didn't mesh with one character. He's like, I've had this book out for 4 years and you're the first one who's ever caught that. And it's like, I get invested in my books, and
attention to detail. That's great though, man.
But that's me. That's what I wasn't trying to be that guy. But I had questions, and I waited a year to meet this guy again so I could ask him this question
face to face.
Yes.
Look, I actually like that because again, when somebody reads my stories and they hit me up like at another con, like after yeah, I got the first book here, I came back and got the second book, and we want to see what's next. Like, all right, I got these comics. Oh wow, that's great. But I think the last con, this guy was telling me that how much he loved them and his kid loves them, and he was asking what's next, and that's why I showed him the comics and stuff, and he was like, so you doing anything else? I was like, yeah, on YouTube I got these hidden chapters, and the first set is about these guys, and the next one's gonna be about this. And the kid lit up, and he was like, oh, that's Jabari is Quinn's ancestor. I was like, you know my work, it just hit me dead in the heart, man. I was like, wow, my thoughts are now in his head, and it's actually something that he enjoyed, and he's excited to see what comes next. So I'm like, well, I'm out there now. I mean, this is what I'm doing it for. Well, okay, in part what I'm doing it for. I want to eat off of this, y'all. But besides that, I mean, the fact that I could build something, so many people come and go, and the only thing we know is like whatever's left on their tombstone.
And with this, you're building your own world.
Yes.
To tell a story that you want to tell.
Yeah, the way I want to tell it. That way I don't have to deal with gatekeepers. I don't have to deal with publishers saying, oh, this isn't marketable, whatever. I got this, right? Yeah, do your own stuff too. Yeah, self-publish, dude. Self-publish.
Oh yeah, no, I know enough people. I could do like.
Yeah, that's the best. I'm telling you, it's a lot of work, man. But sheesh, in the end, when you have it in your hand, the thing shows up in the mail, and it's like, wow, this is it. It all just feels perfect.
Okay, so let's tell everybody where they can pick this up. They can't pick it up here because like everybody around us is tearing down.
Yeah, they pack it up. Get that.
They're going. It's 8 minutes to 5 o'clock. People are wanting to get the heck out of here.
Yep. So you can get copies at betweenmagicanddreams.com, where you'll find all things Between Magic and Dreams. In fact, anything that you buy from me directly will be sent to you, as far as novels is concerned, signed and with a double-sided bookmark, and each comic will be signed as well. All the other goodies, there are shirts and merch and all that fun stuff. And you can also get the books on Amazon and wherever books are sold, but they won't be signed. So just get them from me.
You don't see them sign one to Amazon?
No, they
Okay.
don't. No, they give me what, pennies per dollar made. No, they don't
So
get ink.
I'm going to buy one from Amazon. I'm
Okay,
going to go out to Grover because it's not that big.
okay,
And I'll knock on every door until I get you to sign it.
sweet. then I have to take a picture with you as my number one fan doing an interview saying, he knocked on every door in Grover.
Hey, we adopted a dog from an animal shelter out in Grover.
Oh, man. So you really went out there.
I go out there all
Sorry, there's not much for you to see. It's not even much Groveland anymore in Groveland. All the trees are getting taken out.
That's why I live in Deltona. It's the same thing over there, but in our area that we live, it's still nice.
Okay.
You don't hear no sirens. We moved from Orlando to Deltona.
Oh, well,
We can actually see stars at night.
that's a huge difference. Orlando, man.
Oh yeah. Well, we wanted to buy a house, and the house we bought in Deltona would have cost us like 3 times as much in Orlando.
Wow. Oh,
And it's a half-hour drive to Orlando. Who cares? And now it's a half-hour drive to Daytona or Orlando. So
having your cake and eating it too.
exactly.
That's what's up, man.
Okay. Anything special you want to tell everybody before we call it done?
Let's see. Book 3 is in the works. The third comic is over halfway done, so be looking out for that. I'll probably be doing a Kickstarter for it, in which case you guys can support me by dropping funds and gaining all kinds of really cool exclusive content that you can only get through that Kickstarter. That's probably another month or so out, so I'll be letting you know. You can check me out on Instagram or TikTok, where I will let you know of any upcoming events.
Okay. And see this book right here? I'm gonna touch it.
Go ahead, feel it up, man. It feels good.
Okay. See, this is also good because school just went back in session. This is a good book to read. Or you get that free pizza. I don't know if they still do. I still see some schools still doing the book it.
That'd be
there
great.
you go. And all charities go to him, Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
All money associated goes to Bryan. So you know it's going to a good charity.
Yeah. And with more money, it means I can make more books. And if you feel so moved, try to convince any principal or English teacher, literature teacher, that it would be nice to have some new literature in the school.
Yes, this would be a good book. Put it in the library. Have it out there.
Even if you want to make a curriculum, I'll try to make it educational.
There you go. Okay, guys. And with that, what's your favorite food?
Pizza, key lime pie, and lasagna.
Okay.
Oh, tiramisu.
And tiramisu. You got lots of favorite food. And I told you I was going to ask you that before we ended.
It's all good. I should have had it narrowed down.
And with that, guys, we will see you sometime. It's the end of the show. I ain't doing any more live today. We ended with the best.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
That feels right.
Hey, man, an author is always one of the best.
I appreciate that.
Reading is good. Do it more.
Reading is fundamental.
If you don't have time to do it, at least get the audiobook.
Yep.
Because at least it's still supporting the arts.
Yes.
Because somebody still wrote the book that's being read to you.
Yep. And you're supporting a narrator that's in the field making these books come to life.
Exactly. So with that, guys, we will talk to you guys later. See ya.
Peace.